Alright, we are live, ladies and germs, and yes, this is a review that probably should have come 2 weeks ago, but I honestly just didn't really feel like watching the Italian Grand Prix recently, just because it's just been kind of difficult to get into Formula One as of late, after the whole Spa bullshit, and all that good stuff. But seeing as the Russian Grand Prix is tomorrow, as one of my kitties wants to get involved in the action. Cat, would you get your ass out of my face? This cat. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this review done and over with, since the Russian Grand Prix is tomorrow. So without further ado, let's get into things. This is The Fuel. Alright, what's happening, ladies and germs? This is the Packerman, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Fuel, where we're going to be talking about the 2021 Italian Grand Prix. Like I said, a review that should have taken place a couple weeks ago, but just wasn't feeling it recently. This is our 114th edition of The Fuel. Title of this episode, thank God for the Halo, because there was an incident between Hamilton and Verstappen, which resulted in Verstappen's right rear tire nearly getting smacked right into Hamilton's face, if it weren't for the fact that the Halo was there. Sup, Coda? Just doing a quick F1 review, one that should have been done a couple weeks ago. But one thing I do want to address here before we get into things is some bullshit that's been going down in my comments section. Now, admittedly, my channel is not very big. I mean, I only have about 60 subscribers, so my channel is not very big. So I don't get a whole hell of a lot of comments on on my videos. Excuse me. But I do get some comments every now and again, mostly positive for the most part. But for some reason, the past couple of F1 reviews, I've had some of the most, mind-numbingly stupid comments being left on my videos. Some were just laughing emojis, just nothing but laughing emojis. There was one guy that was like, seriously, and then nothing but laughing emojis. And then there was one asshole that decided to get snarky on my Belgian Grand Prix rant, because I was pissed off at how it went down. And the guy was like, say you're American without actually being American. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the video and the content within it? And I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. I'm done with that fucking bullshit. Okay? And you don't see these comments on my videos anymore because they're no longer available for viewing, because I'm just going to let it be known right now. I mean, you post any stupid ass bullshit comments on my videos, if they don't have any salient value to them, I'm just going to, I can easily with a click delete it and block you. I don't give a fuck, okay? I am done with the fucking bullshit, okay? Now, if you want to have an intelligent conversation and have a back and forth about something that goes down in one of my videos, then fine, we can have a conversation. But, if you post the stupid ass bullshit like I was just talking about, nothing but laughing emojis or whatever the fuck else, I'm not going to tolerate that shit. I'm just not going to do it. So, be forewarned, if you decide you want to post shit like that on my comments section, just don't bother. It would just be a waste of your typing. I'm just going to delete it and block your ass, and you will never be unblocked again. I don't give a fuck. Alright? I'm just going to let that be known right now. I'm done with that shit. Just wanted to get that out of the way, because that's been happening the last couple of videos. It haven't been a whole hell of a lot of comments, but some of the ones I have been getting have been fucking garbage. And Cat, get off the damn keyboard. For fuck's sake. Quit getting on my keyboard. Anyways. Some of the headlines that came out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo, who started from the second position. He wasn't on the pole, but he got a great start, which we're going to be talking about. Managed to get ahead of Max Verstappen and pretty much held him at bay. And pretty much led a large majority of the race and scores his 8th career F1 win, his first with McLaren, and his first win in 3 years. The last time he won was all the way back in Monaco in 2018 when he was driving for Red Bull. So it's his first win in 3 seasons. This was McLaren's first Grand Prix win in 9 years. Can you believe that shit? Has it really been 9 years since McLaren last won a Grand Prix? Evidently it was, and not only that, it has been 11 years since McLaren went 1-2 because Ricciardo's teammate Lando Norris managed to finish second behind Ricciardo. So big day for McLaren at their rival's home track because Italy is, Monza is widely considered to be Ferrari's home racetrack. And quit clawing on me, Cat. Damn. And for McLaren to go in and basically get a 1-2 finish at their rivals racetrack and basically extend their advantage over them in the constructor standings, that's got to be especially sweet for McLaren. So obviously a big day for them. But other than that, I mean, other than, you know, the Hamilton Verstappen thing, which was obviously the big talk of the Formula One world, and McLaren's big 1-2 finish, there was really nothing else in this race that was worth watching. I mean, as usual, nobody could pass. I mean, people could stay close, but that was about it. And the DRS just didn't seem to do jack shit. You know, and of course, what else do you expect from a track that's nothing but long straightaways and chicanes now? You know, but it is what it is. But the only other headline coming out of the last couple weeks was Alexander Albon is going to be back in Formula One next year and will be driving for Williams in 2022, now occupying the seat that was once occupied by George Russell, since Russell was getting a big promotion and will be driving for Mercedes next year after it was revealed that Bottas will be leaving Mercedes to join Alfa Romeo to replace the retiring Kimi Räikkönen. So I think pretty much everybody else is keeping their driver lineups. Haas is keeping theirs for whatever reason, because Nikita Mazepin's fucking garbage. But I guess you gotta get that money. AlphaTauri's keeping their lineup together. They've been doing pretty decent. God, who's the team that Vettel drives for? Fuck. Yeah, Alfa Romeo. I think Alpine Renault is keeping their lineup, which was Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso, I believe. Aston Martin. That's the one I was thinking of. The team that Vettel drives for. Aston Martin. They're keeping their lineup as well of Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel. So there have been a few driver switches. Obviously, Ferrari's keeping their lineup. Red Bull's keeping their lineup. Mercedes, of course, switching out for George Russell. And that's pretty much it. So a few driver switches here and there. Basically, the grid is going to it's basically going to be the same group of drivers. It's just that one's retiring and Alexander Albon is coming back in. So That's pretty much the only switch for Formula One in 2022. What are you doing, cats? Like, seriously. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this race and get it done and over with. This was a 53-lap race. As I said, not a whole hell of a lot went on. It's just that there was a couple of things that happened within this race that makes it a little more memorable than it probably deserves. So, my chair is starting to fall apart. It's starting to do the whole lean forward shit. So, yeah. Not exactly fun to try to keep upright. I gotta get a new chair soon. But Verstappen started from the pole, but Ricciardo got a better start than Verstappen and takes the lead. Hamilton tries to get alongside, but Verstappen forces him off at the De La Raja chicane, I believe it's called. Which I think is the second chicane. Giovinazzi cuts across, signs his bumper, and spins, taking his front wing off. This results in a virtual safety car to clean up the debris. Giovinazzi pits to replace his front wing. Verstappen tries to catch Ricciardo for the race lead. He was keeping it close, but couldn't really close up enough to try to make a move. And at this point, both AlphaTauris were out of the race. Cat, quit messing with shit. Both AlphaTauris had troubles in the sprint race, I believe, because this was another sprint weekend. One was already out beforehand, which was Sonoda, and then Pierre Gasly made a couple laps but had to retire as well. So, not a good day for the AlphaTauris. Giovinazzi was hit with a 5-second time penalty for the incident with Sainz, obviously, because he was the one who came across Sainz's bumper, or fender as it were, or wing in this case. Sergio Perez gets by Sainz for 6th. Hamilton starts challenging Norris for the 3rd position. Ocon nudges Vettel into the dirt and was put under investigation because of it. Bottas up to 9th on lap 17 after starting 19th, which is pretty impressive. And then Ocon was hit with a 5-second time penalty for causing the collision with Vettel, which you can see that coming a mile away. And then Verstappen locks up and completely blows the first chicane. Still trying to catch Ricciardo for the lead, by the way. Ricciardo pits from the lead on lap 23 for hard, so his one and only pit stop of the day. Verstappen pits the next time by and has an incredibly slow stop, which puts him back in the pack. Hamilton then gets by Norris for the race lead because the two actually stayed out an extra lap. So Hamilton takes the race lead for our first pure lead change of the day on lap 24. Hamilton pits from the lead on lap 26, and then we have the big incident. Second safety car comes out at this point when Verstappen and Hamilton come together at the first chicane. As Hamilton comes out of the pits, it looked like Hamilton was side by side with him, tried to give him a little bit of room on the outside, but then Verstappen looked like he almost kind of tried to cut the chicane off a little bit, bounces over into Hamilton. The rear of his car gets airborne, takes the rear wing off, and nearly takes Hamilton's head off in the process. It actually makes contact with the halo. The right rear tire actually was sitting on top of Hamilton's helmet at one point, but that could have been a lot worse if the halo hadn't been there. So that's why the episode is titled the way it is. Thank God for the halo, because that could have been bad. And then Christian Horner, I guess afterwards, said that it was a racing incident. Yeah, okay, fuck off. Yeah, when there's an incident where Hamilton looked like he was mostly at fault, you say, oh, we want him to be suspended, but, you know, in an incident where it looked like Verstappen was mostly at fault, which was this one, racing incident. Fuck off. How about we get some fucking honesty here, huh? How about that? Instead of being so horribly biased towards your team, huh? Can we do that? I would say the same for all of the fucking managers in Formula One, not just Christian Horner, I'm talking about Toto Wolff and all the other motherfuckers that run these teams. You know, enough with the bias bullshit. I found that to be kind of annoying. Ricciardo leads on the restart on lap 31. Norris with a brilliant pass to Leclerc. Had a wheel in the grass as well and still pulled the pass off going into the second chicane, which was where it seemed like most of the passes were being made. Gets up to the second position, so McLaren's 1-2 on lap 32, and that's pretty much the way it would stay for the rest of the race. Bottas gets by Sainz for 5th. Mick Schumacher, spins at the second chicane. Bottas and Leclerc are fighting for 4th, and Bottas wins that battle going into the first chicane on lap 34. Then Perez is hit with a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track at turn 5 and gaining an advantage. I don't know why they didn't just let him, because he gained a position. I don't know why they didn't just decide, hey, you might want to let him back by, because that's a 5-second time penalty that was added to the end of his time, and it cost him a podium. So I think that was kind of dumb on Red Bull's decision, or on Red Bull's part, to not say, hey, you might want to let this guy back by and try to get the position back that way. No, they just decide, you know what, we're just going to keep you in front, you know, and ended up with a 5-second time penalty, and it cost him a podium. Like, what the fuck, Red Bull? Seriously, you were just on your dumb shit today in this race. And then Mazepin is hit with a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision at turn 4, which, I mean, the dude's fucking trash anyway. Then Mazepin stops at turn 10, looked like he had a mechanical problem, bringing out a virtual safety car, which was the third one. And then after things got going, nothing else happened from that point on. Nobody could pass, and it was a boring race. And McLaren is unchallenged the rest of the way as Daniel Ricciardo wins the Italian Grand Prix. This race fucking sucked. In fact, the last couple of Formula 1 Grand Prix have sucked ass. Literally, the only things of note from this race was the incident between Hamilton and Verstappen, which actually resulted in Verstappen getting a 3-place grid penalty because F1 felt that it was mostly his fault for what happened. But then we learned that Red Bull, during practice for the Russian Grand Prix, which will happen tomorrow, actually had to change the power unit, and as a result has to start from the rear of the grid. So he's starting dead last tomorrow, which is a pretty big penalty to say the least, especially with Hamilton. It looks like he has a good car, but he's going to be starting 4th because of some shit that went down in qualifying, where he hit the pit wall. Thankfully he didn't bust up his car too bad. He just broke the front wing from the looks of it. But he's going to be starting 4th, whereas Verstappen is going to be starting dead last. So, huge opportunity for Hamilton to not only retake the points lead, but maybe finally score that 100th Grand Prix victory? Who knows? But, yeah, other than the Hamilton-Verstappen thing and McLaren finishing 1-2, which was a big deal for them, there was nothing else memorable about this race. It was just boring as fuck. So, statistics. Surprisingly, there were 6 overall lead changes in this race, which matches the season high from Baku earlier this year. Of course, there was just the 1 pure lead change, and there were 3 safety cars. There were 2 virtual safety cars, and then an actual safety car for the Hamilton-Verstappen incident. Alright, so race results. Your top 10 finishers who scored points. Daniel Ricciardo, who actually also got the fastest lap, so it's a max points day for Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren, since Lando Norris finished runner-up. And how about Valtteri Bottas? Started 19th, finished 3rd. That's pretty damn impressive to come from the back of the grid like that. And that track that's really difficult to pass at. And yet he was able to get the job done. Charles Leclerc comes home in 4th. Sergio Perez would have finished on the podium, but ends up in 5th after his 5-second time penalty. Carlos Sainz, the other Ferrari, comes home in 6th. Then you have Lance Stroll and the Aston Martin coming home in 7th. Fernando Alonso for Alpine in 8th. George Russell and the Williams continuing to score points in the Williams. Earns 2 more points, finishing in 9th, basically showcasing why he is getting that promotion to Mercedes. And I think Russell's career is really going to take off once he has that Mercedes seat. And then Esteban Ocon, despite his 5-second time penalty, comes home in 10th and gets the final championship point. So, driver standings after the Italian Grand Prix. Because Verstappen and Hamilton both went out of the race, and it was actually Hamilton's first DNF in Formula One since 2018. That is quite a long time ago. The points gap remains at 5 in Verstappen's favor, although that could change tomorrow, but you never really know. Bottas, with his third place finish, moves up to, he's actually third in the points, 141. Lando Norris, fourth in the points with 132 after his runner-up finish. Sergio Perez in fifth with 118. And you have the Ferrari boys, Leclerc and Sainz, in 6th and 7th. Daniel Ricciardo moves up to 8th with his win. He's now at 83 points. Pierre Gasly is 9th with 66. And Fernando Alonso, top 10 in the driver standings with 50 points. Constructor standings. After the Italian Grand Prix, Mercedes continues to lead the way. They actually extended their lead over Red Bull with both of their star drivers out. Bottas finished ahead of Perez by 2 spots. So now their lead over Red Bull is 18 points. McLaren takes the advantage over Ferrari now in the battle for third. They have a 13.5 point gap over Ferrari. Then you have Alpine in 5th, AlphaTauri in 6th, Aston Martin 7th, Williams in 8th with 22 points now, Alfa Romeo with 3 points, and Haas continuing to bring up the rear, as they always do, with 0 points to their credit. As for my final rating for this race, it was boring as fuck. I mean, literally, the only things that people are going to be talking about from this race are the Hamilton-Verstappen fiasco at the first chicane, and McLaren getting their first win in nearly a decade. Other than that, this race was fucking trash. My final rating for this race will be a 3 on the fuel gauge. That's the best I can give it. Not really much else to say. So that is going to do it for this edition of The Fuel. Tomorrow will be the Russian Grand Prix. See how that goes. I could probably pretty much say for certain the Cup review is not going to come until Monday, because of the fact that the Cup Series race isn't coming on until 7 p.m. because they're in Vegas, and that race probably won't get done until about 11 o'clock at night, and you know, I go to bed around midnight, so not really any time whatsoever to prepare the reviews. So you know, the Cup Series race will probably more than likely be a Monday review. Actually, I can pretty much say for certain. Well, that's pretty much going to do it. So, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, this is the Packer Man, signing out. See you later.
Thank you for watching tonight's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, you rats!